After months of quarantine, we're all interested in how we can become our best self. The team at Permanent Makeup and Cryo is here to help you get the flawless makeup look every day without the extra effort or time. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy.
Week number 3 brings us to the virtual Hampton, Georgia for Advanced Legends Cup, brought to you by Pain Built Legends. Welcome once again to Pit Stop TV. Qualifying already on track, so we'll keep this brief as Brandon Herzing joins me once again in the booth. Cars on track, as I mentioned, and this could be, at least per your unofficial record, we'll say, a record strength of field for Advanced Legends Cup. This is a pretty big deal for week number 3.
Yeah, for sure. 4,800. I think it was at 4,700 for week 1, so it is a little higher than that. So there's a lot to win here.
Definitely a lot of points up for grabs then, with the massive strength of field coming into this race. Nearly 4,900 iRating average between these drivers. That is a lot. Here's the highest of them all, Parker Retzlaff on track in car number 2, and he has been number 1, I think, through the first couple of weeks, and that is no surprise as he's on track here for his qualifying effort. This, of course, the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's go on track, go on board here with Parker, and see how he's getting it done. Out of turn 2, the car actually looks nice and steady, nice and sturdy. A lot of times you'll find these guys have troubles over the bumps, whether that's on an entry or exit, and right there, Parker loops it on exit. Here's Caden Lapsevich trying to do the same thing. Well, trying to not loop it, but trying to qualify, of course.
Oh yeah, there's one heck of a bump right here when you're coming in. You'll see it right about here. There's a bump there, and it will send you.
Lapsevich first lap will not count. I think he tagged the wall into turn number 2, so this time down the back straightaway, right at the turn 3 camera and into that third corner. I've sat in that view a few times down at Charlotte, but Caden Lapsevich, lap number 2. Let's see if that one counts, and it should. It's a 14.957. That is good for third. One heck of a lap, honestly, for Caden Lapsevich there. The best lap so far, a 14.934 from Jacob Derrick. We'll get the ticker up there for you. Tyler Payne second, Caden Lapsevich third, Blake Massengill fourth, and here goes Parker Retzlaff back across the line. That lap, it looks like, will not count, but boy, if it had, that would have been good enough for pole.
Yeah, there's not much room for error in this track, that's for sure.
Here's a look at Curtis Sutton in car 14 entering the iRacing session. So he's got the 14th best iRating for this race. And lap 1, wow, pole right away for Curtis Sutton by nearly 4/100ths of a second, breaking into the 14.8s. That is a heater there from Curtis Sutton. While he sits on that lap time, let's check out the track map for this place. And Brandon, it's an interesting one. And we actually, it's way off center because there's that whole long pit lane that these drivers shouldn't be using at all tonight. But it is there if they should need it. It's a tiny little bull ring.
Yeah, that pit lane, if you're going there, you're going a lap down, doesn't matter what happens. It's just so long. You'll go 1 to 2 laps down before you even get into your stall.
And, I just said bull ring, and then, of course, there's a bull ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Each track kind of has its own name, but in this case, Atlanta Motor Speedway, they call it the Thunder Ring down in Hampton, Georgia. I've had the pleasure of working with Caleb Gladney down there a few times, and it is definitely a cool place to watch Legend Cars race. We're doing exactly that this evening. Let's talk quickly about the standings coming into week number 3. Kyle Meyer leads the way with his week 1 victory and subsequent races. He's run actually 3 races this season. So he ran 2 last week, up from the 1 from week 1, and I think that was because EPI, as Tyler Payne posted over on their page, they just missed it at first. For their week 2 setup at Irwindale, they were a little bit tight, a little bit too snug. They expected the races to be a little more caution-filled. That wasn't the case, so they freed things up, and Brandon, it sounds like they got right back on track and held their positions.
Oh, absolutely. Tyler had some sleepless nights after that, I promise you that. He went right back to work after SOF night and definitely finished strong for the week.
You can see the full rundown there through your top 10 in Advanced Legends Cup standings. Tyler Payne joining the top 10 there in 10th. Ryan Kuhn moving up as well. And how about Blake Massengill with 2 of his accounts in the top 10. Same with Daniel Folds. Definitely stacked, for sure. 58 races, by the way, for Jeremy Ashby. I saw he won a bunch. 45 wins this season. These guys are running some races in some cases. That is nuts. I cannot imagine running that many races, winning that many races out of the ones you run. That is a crazy stat.
Yeah, he raced a lot of them last week, that is for sure. But looking at the starts versus wins, I mean, it's impressive. But at the same time, he's only sitting in 7th. So you really got to make the ones count.
And the schedule for this season, here it is. Of course, Atlanta this evening, round number 3. It's Hickory next week, then Oxford and Southern National for the top half of the schedule. Let's look down through your starting order this evening. Curtis Sutton on pole, Jacob Derrick second. Quickly, we'll go through this. Tyler Payne will start from 3rd, Caden Lapsovich from 4th. Blake Massengill will start 5th, Matthew Boniface 6th, Daniel Fold 7th, Chase Sylvia 8th. And around at your top 10, it's Narducci and Sylvia here in row number 5. Then Kyle Meyer, your point leader, will start from 11th spot. Eric Steele from 12th. James Folds will start from 13th. Parker Retzlaff from 14th. Then Michael J. Smith and Jason Durant Walker at the back end of the field. Already, just like that, things move quickly here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway Thunder Ring. And we have green flag, and Tyler Payne has looped it off the start. Oh my goodness, and a caution flag already. That is a tough one.
Oh, that's horrible for Tyler. It doesn't look like anybody got into him. I think he just got on the gas a little too hard.
That is the worst way you could possibly start one of these races without wadding up the rest of the field. And it looks like, don't tell me we have the pace car glitch here. We've got something happening. The field has stopped entirely. The pace car is in front of these guys. I think they're trying to find it. And
yeah, that's not uncommon for like here in Charlotte, where you have to kind of let the pace car come back around and pass you.
So drivers trying to figure that out. Let's take a look at the replay. Like I said, the worst way you could possibly start things without collecting others.
Yeah, and at least he didn't collect anybody. It was just looking at this again. Yeah, he just got on a little too hard.
That's got to be so frustrating. I can only imagine. I've had my thrills and spills in my racing on iRacing plenty of times, but I had some moments on restarts too. But this, man, yeah, this is painful.
Rough. This track is definitely known for not being able to pass really easily either.
Unfortunately, a really, really amazing qualifying effort there from Tyler Payne has quickly turned into a last to first challenge, with a couple of laps already off the board as we work lap 3 under caution. How about the weather conditions for this race? 77 degrees in the air, 82 degrees on track, nothing too crazy. Fits pretty much into the wheelhouse that these guys build these setups for.
Oh yeah, this is right about the temperature we were testing at all week, so EPI guys should be pretty stacked for this.
And of course, the purple lap there from Caden Lapsevich is not all of that speedy, as it looks like these guys now are figuring out they might have to do one more lap to catch up to the pace car.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
And this is tricky as well when you're in an official race, because drivers don't always want to cooperate with one another. They're, of course, trying to race against each other, but this is just about the top echelon of Legend Car Racing on the iRacing.com sim, if not the top echelon. So these guys are all trying to work together at the same time as... Actually, maybe they aren't. That was just the green flag, technically, and we are now officially off and away. That is one of the weirder starts I've seen. The pace car is in. I am not sure what just happened, but we have green flag racing, and one car is around. That looks like it might have been Kyle Meyer, and it was. My goodness.
Oh yeah, that's definitely bad. That's two of the biggest EPI hard hitters right there, already going to the back first couple laps.
Matthew Boniface making us eat our words, by the way. He has taken to the pit lane. I'm not sure the issue for car 95, but he is into the safety of the pits and will take service here momentarily. Let's go back and see what happened here to Kyle Meyer, the point leader. This is big as far as this series goes. Really big.
Yeah, it's big. That's for sure, especially him leading with points.
Was just behind, it looks like Jake Sylvia potentially there with the number 78, but we'll ride on board here with Kyle Meyer and how to turn to, oh, he caught the grass.
Oh, yeah, he did. Caught the grass a little bit. At the same time, I mean, that will at least hopefully bunch everybody back up for a little bit better racing.
Yeah, maybe a blessing in disguise for the rest of the field, potentially.
I'm sure a lot of them are hoping that, except for Sutton, of course.
And there again, the spin for Kyle Meyer out of turn number 2. Definitely not the way he wanted week 3 to get started. That might end up costing him the point lead. It's really hard to say, of course, this early on. And in fact, he is trapped a lap down right now behind the pace car. He's not behind the race leader of Curtis Sutton, so that's good for him. But he is trapped behind the pace car, so I think he has to rely on a wave around here, which is really just going to be a slap in the face.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like people are completely out of sequence here, to be honest with you, unless something happened with Daniel Foltz, because he was sitting pretty comfortably in second.
I think we're in the same order we were. I recall Jacob Derrick being high in the order. It's really hard to say, and it might have been a result of that not at all together restart that we had to get the race back going. That is one of the more peculiar things I've seen on iRacing in a long, long time. The way that restart went, I have to imagine Curtis Sutton was being told to let the pace car go by, and he thought to let the entire lap go, basically let the pace car get a whole lap, and that ended up putting these guys one lap behind. I'm really not sure, but here we go. We'll go back green flag this time, and it should all be sorted out. It'll be lap 13 of 50 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway Thunder Ring. Green flag back out in the Advanced Legends Cup. And we've got some crashing. Looks like Jake Sylvia turned around, and the RKM driver has found the outside of turn number 2 rather quickly. It looks like some other drivers may be in peril further up, but that's how it goes sometimes, especially on these quarter miles. There's not much running room.
Well, hey, Andrew, remember last week we said we expected to see some cautions last week, and we were definitely proven wrong. This week, I think we're right on the money.
Well, we're making up for it, for sure. Let's take a look at what happens here for Jake Sylvia. The 78 gets a little bit loose on the restart. And one car goes to the inside, and contact. There he goes. Parker Retzlaff gets a little piece. And Sylvia, unfortunately, is backwards.
Yeah, it just looks like he couldn't get slowed down enough and just pushed right up into him, unfortunately.
Another view here from the tower. And yeah, that's classic racing, honestly, at one of these SMI quarter miles built out of the quad ovals at places like Atlanta, Texas, Charlotte especially. If you watch Summer Shootout, you'll see that a million times in any given year. That is one of the most common things you'll see happen. That's just exactly how it goes sometimes. And you know what? That puts it on the drivers. If you want to have a clean and green race, you've got to not get into the corner too hard off the restart and not hit guys in front of you.
Oh, absolutely. But we need to get some laps in here and everybody get settled down. I think we'll get some good racing in.
Well, how about the implications if we don't do that? Of course, you know a little better than I do, Brandon. If these guys are not able to make spots up, guys like Caden Lapsevich, they're going to get a whole bunch of points. Jacob Derrick even in the number 8. And guys like, well, of course, Tyler Payne sitting back here in 12th spot. He's really going to have to take one in the chin.
Oh, yeah, no, this would be detrimental this week if this happens like this. Of course, Daniel's up there, looks like back at second, so he would be setting pretty to take over the lead for sure.
And Daniel Fold on the outside of row number 3, it looks like, as he's going to have Brian Narducci up the inside and Chase Sylvia behind him. And it looks like we should get the 1-to-go signal this time by from the flag stand, so the pace car lights should be extinguished. Hopefully we'll be racing on lap 19 of 50. And yes, pace car lights are out atop the iRacing.com pace vehicle. Curtis Sutton, your race leader for Advanced Legends here at Atlanta. This is definitely a detour from what we saw in Irwindale and even from what we saw at USA. This is definitely one of those caution-laden races that these drivers are going to have to get through. But we're waiting on a restart here. Green flag is back out. Lap 19 of 50 underway.
Like little lockups already.
Couple of cars out wide, couple of cars in the fence, and we're backing them up. Look at this gaggle, and there goes one. That was, I think, Massengill on the outside. Contact with Retzlaff and another. And that might have been Narducci, I think, that officially sent Massengill for a ride.
Yeah, we'll wait for the replay, but it definitely looks like he got sent.
We'll get another view here. Blake Massengill in car 5. Now he's up there in the standings as well with 2 of his accounts, so this is big for him. He cannot allow to have, he just can't have this happen. They were all over the place there out of the corner. And it wasn't Narducci actually, it was that 13, which was one of the other cars that a driver went off the nose of. Granted, he got pushed into that car, so we'll have to get another replay. A lot is going on, and it generally does.
Yeah, there's not a lot of space in this track, and everybody's fighting for it.
So here's another look. Massengill out of turn 2 just gets sideways out into the fence. And he's going to get hit from behind. That's the number 13. That would be James Folds, I believe. And yes, it was. James Folds, a little bit of contact that time. He got hit, though, by the car behind him now. That was Eric Steele, the previous yellow. So it was Eric Steele into turn 1 that ended up setting Jake Sylvia around. That time, though, it was James Folds getting into Massengill that caused this incident.
And unless I'm mistaken, it looks like James Holmes is also the one that bounced off the wall a little bit, too.
Yeah, I think he was one of the drivers, yeah. There were a couple of cars that got out there and hit the wall. Does that bend the steering usually, the first hit you get to the outside wall?
Oh, very easily in these cars. Yeah, his steering could be out of whack right now, and it could have played into the way he was turning. And, you know, it might have slowed him down just enough to get somebody to get into him. It's possible.
All right, well, pace car lights have been not shut off, actually. We're getting one more lap of caution, it looks like. So the earliest we get this race restarted is lap 25 of 50. And that would be a Thursday Night Thunder feature length right then, or right there, with feature race length I was going for, with 25 laps. So we are definitely starting to burn the midnight oil, I guess, if you will, as far as legend car racing. This was supposed to take a little longer than I would have thought, honestly. I expected a couple of yellows, but did you expect this?
Honestly, yeah, I did. Harder track than Charlotte, for sure, with the bumps and such. A lot of these drivers are not used to driving here like Charlotte every single season, so I expected quite a few. Hopefully we can stay green.
Let's see, this time at a turn 4, green flag is back out. Curtis Sutton with the lead, side by side for second with Lapsevich and Derek. Derek way up the hill. Lapsevich going to fill that hole and take over second spot. Chase Sylvia, it looks like, getting into the back end of Jacob Derrick. He goes up the track, and now one spinning. Oh, we've got a massive junk him up. That was Daniel Folds. No, was it James Folds? As Daniel Folds
James
involved.
Folds. Yeah, I think he might have some damage. That was the reason. It looks like he spun on going down the straightaway.
Kyle Meyer involved. Oh, boy. Tyler Payne had to go through the grass to miss it. But, yeah, that was James Folds up at a turn 4, losing control. And we'll get a better look here.
In-car on that one.
Watch the gray and red 13 gets loose, overcorrects, and Eric Steele with nowhere to go. And
it's just one of those things.
Yeah, James Folds definitely was not happy with that one as he alt-F forward pretty quickly. We'll get another look here as Eric Steele actually sent him into that corner a little bit, but out of the corner, all on his own. James loses control, catches Daniel Folds. Kyle Meyer gets a big hit, but thankfully it looks like Tyler Payne gets through, and oh, Meyer gets hit again there.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
That's right on board here with Kyle Meyer way back in the field. This is tough as a driver. You're trying to get everything you can, and just everything happens in front of you. There's really nowhere to go. You try to go down the racetrack, contact there. Steele goes up the track into one, and Meyer actually hits Steele more than anything else and goes around one more time.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think that's his night.
That's his points lead, too. That is big.
Oh, absolutely. That is massive.
I think at least after this race, it's safe to say Kyle Meyer... Well, I say that, but Daniel Folds just got involved big time, too. Let's check the standings. When in doubt, check the standings. Parker Retzlaff, 44 points back. Could he take over the points lead if he's 4th right now? Those guys, let's see, Daniel Folds is 12th. Kyle Meyer, 13th.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, do you see our leader anywhere on this list?
I don't, yeah. Curtis Sutton, nowhere in the top 10. Caden Lapsevich, Brian Narducci, nowhere to be seen. Even Jacob Derrick, who runs in 5th, or Chase Sylvia, Jason Durant-Walker, Jake Sylvia. The next car behind Parker Retzlaff that is on this top 10 list in points is Blake Massengill, and he comes in 4th in the standings behind Parker Retzlaff. So we'll see how these points get weighted, I suppose, and who takes over the points lead as these guys are antsy, chomping the bit to get back going. Lap 32 of 50, we're back green. Narducci up the inside of Caden Lapsevich, and he takes 2nd away. Here comes Retzlaff.
Oh, yeah. Retzlaff is moving.
Parker Retzlaff up to 4th spot, side by side behind Jacob Derrick and Chase Sylvia. Chase Sylvia up the inside, takes that spot away. And one car in the fence, that is Blake Massengill back here with Kyle Meyer and Daniel Folds. As nearly one car going around, I think that was Jason Durant-Walker on the outside. He got moved up by Jake Sylvia. And now Parker Retzlaff gets the best of Caden Lapsevich. Here we go, battle for 3rd. Retzlaff trying to drive away from Lapsevich, but the Canadians saying, "Oh, not so quick."
Yeah, this is what we needed, for them just to fan out just a little bit and give each other some room. Now we got some green flag laps.
Brian Narducci in 2nd. He's hanging with Curtis Sutton out front. Retzlaff closing in. I think bumper bars are in order at this point. We've had a lot of these yellows already. These guys are needing these points. Retzlaff just went purple. Oh, there we go. I think Narducci got in the back of Sutton, and that moves Narducci up the track, now behind Parker Retzlaff. And the top I rating in the field is now 2nd. Narducci catches grass. That puts Lapsevich into a bit of a tizzy. And here comes Chase Sylvia, who can't quite make the move, but there was maybe some contact into that corner. They're still nose to tail. This on board with Caden Lapsevich. And it looks like they've gotten that sorted out for now. So back up front, Curtis Sutton. That's the gap back to Parker Retzlaff. Oh, so close through 1 and 2. This is a proper battle. Here we go. Big defense for turn 3.
Yeah, that is close racing right there.
Very, very close as they dive down to the inside of turn 1. Just 11 laps to go between these two. That's plenty of time for Parker to work on this. I don't think he has to push just yet. Of course, we could get a yellow at any point in time. And now, down to the bottom side of the track, he's going to send Curtis Sutton. And Retzlaff will take the race lead, but a caution will fly. I don't think that move is going to fly, though.
Oh, no, that was... I'm not going to comment on that one. I mean, I did see Sutton go down the block a little bit, but that's still... We'll take a look at that one.
I think that was aggressive with 10, 11 laps still to go. I was just saying there's plenty of time, plenty of opportunities, and that seemed a little on the aggressive side. We'll get a proper look at it, though, and we'll go to the onboard here of Parker Retzlaff.
This will be the view right here.
So the Hornaday development, number 26, goes up the track, that comes back down. He already has the inside. I think he's pretty well declared he's got the inside, and Retzlaff
yeah, that's
just sends him.
that's going to be talked about.
And, you know, I get the whole thing. You know, NX and USLCI both, they've given drivers warnings in the past, and obviously it's a problem on iRacing where drivers will just want to block down the track, but I don't think this is a case of that. There was the one fair move.
You can see that view. It looks like Sutton kept his line.
Well, he can so. I mean, there's one fair move out of Sutton, right? You know, he makes the big move down the racetrack to defend, and it's right there. You get one move, no matter what kind of racing you're in. You get one move to defend. He took it, and Retzlaff could have gone high. Instead, he stays low and sends the 26. Hey, short track racing is short track racing, but I think Curtis Sutton has reason to be a little bit upset about that one.
True. At least he didn't loop it all the way around, and he was able to come back out. What is he, in fifth, it looks like?
Fifth spot. Yeah, he'll restart to the inside of Jake Sylvia, just behind Chase Sylvia and Caden Lapsevich. And he'll have... Well, that might actually be a little bit wrong. I think Jacob Derrick will actually be to his outside. He'll have Jake Sylvia behind him. Tyler Payne will restart 8th when we go back racing. And it looks like we're only going to have 4 laps when we do get the green flag. It'll be 5 to go this time by. Wow. Suddenly this race got a whole lot shorter.
Yes, this is going to be an interesting last few laps here. I would not be surprised if we got a green light checker.
And we only get one attempt, so if we botch that one attempt, we could be in for a wild finish. As Parker Retzlaff is going to lead us to the green here in just a moment. The iRacing.com pace car will turn things over to the highest I-rating driver in the field. Brian Narducci on the outside for a second. Green flag is out. We're back racing.
Yeah, I wonder if these guys will give them each other rooms. I know they fly the same color, so we should see.
Narducci gets in behind Retzlaff. A little bit of contact there in 3. He moves Retzlaff some more. Lapsevich going to try and fill the hole on the bottom side for second. Caden Lapsevich now falling back. Here comes Curtis Sutton. He moves to the inside of Chase Sylvia, and that is a proper battle for 4th. Sutton's got it. 2 laps to go for Retzlaff. And Parker Retzlaff purple that lap, a 15-0. Here we go. We'll get the white flag this time. As long as there's no issue, that's official. White flag presented by Whiplash SimCams. There was a spin in the back, but it is all good for Parker Retzlaff. He might have used the bumper to get it, but he's got a big SOF win. Maybe the biggest SOF win we've ever seen. There's some contact in the back, but Parker Retzlaff on the last lap of the race goes purple again at a 14-9. Congratulations, Parker Retzlaff, the NASCAR Xfinity Series driver, flexing a bunch of a muscle.
Yeah, it looks like there were some extracurriculars coming down to the finish line. I wonder what's going on back there.
And we'll see in the results here in a moment, Brandon, but a big shout out to Kyle Meyer fighting through all of that. He's still finished in the top 10, finishing 9th spot. We'll see the full rundown here in a moment, but that's honestly impressive given the circumstances. And in fact, we'll bring those results up here in just one moment as we try and process everything we just saw there with Retzlaff and Sutton, especially as Sutton recovers there to 3rd. But Retzlaff gets 10 laps led this evening. Brian Narducci will finish 2nd. Curtis Sutton 3rd. Caden Lapsevich finishes 4th spot, just narrowly over, actually narrowly to, I think it was Curtis Sutton that he finished side by side with. Yeah, you can see 1.561 seconds back of the race leader for Sutton, 1.576 for Lapsevich. Then Jake Sylvia 5th and 6th, Inglefold 7th, Blake Massengill 8th, and that's who I was talking about there in 9th is Kyle Meyer. That is one heck of a recovery given the race he had.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely interested to see what the points are going to update to, because with Daniel back there, I mean, it's going to shake some things up.
Jacob Derrick does finish in the top 10. Further back in the field, you see Tyler Payne after his lap 1 mishap. Really lap 0 coming to the start of the race. Looped it around out of the 4th corner before we even took the green flag. One of the more painful moments you have to swallow as a driver for sure, but Jason Durant-Walker finishes 12th, Eric Steele 13th, Matthew Boniface 14th, James Folds 15th, and it looks like Joel Smith never started the race, unfortunately, but man, so some tough races in there. I really hate that for Tyler Payne. Clearly, he had 3rd best pace out of qualifying. He's got pace in these EPI Legends this week, just not at all the way he wanted to start the week off.
No, not at all. That's gonna get under Tyler's skin. He's probably gonna go to work right after this race.
Yeah, he is not one that accepts any kind of failure. Even just a small slip up like that, I know he's going to go to work and he's probably going to practice the restarts 50 times more than he needs to just to get that down, I'd imagine, and see if he can't tighten the car maybe on exit, especially on power like that. I'm sure he's going to find something to help everybody over at Payne Built Legends out for this week. It seemed like that the cars were good, Brandon, just unfortunately, maybe if you snap on the power a little too early, we saw Kyle Meyer get loose too. Granted, he was in the grass when it happened. But I don't think a whole lot needs to be done. Clearly, there was a bunch of pace in at least Tyler's car, and I'm sure the rest of those guys as well. Clearly, the pace is there. It's just a matter of putting the race together.
Yeah, I mean, looking at all the cars, EPI guys were strong. It looks like the RKM guys are obviously going to be strong as well. So this is going to be a good week for everybody.
Be a lot of fun to watch how the points change after this one. Of course, Merry Christmas, and I'm sure a Happy Boxing Day to some of those guys out watching. And we had a couple of Canadians in the field this evening. Hopefully everybody's staying safe for the holidays. A big thank you, though, to our partners at Pit Stop TV, just allowing us to be able to do these broadcasts. Whiplash Media SimCams, SimRentMarket.com, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. A big thank you, of course, to Tyler Payne and Payne Built Legends and Elite Performance Industries for bringing us on for these Advanced Legends Cup broadcasts. They've been a ton of fun so far. Tonight might have been the most dramatic for sure. A couple of really good races. Week 1 at USA, Week 2 at Irwindale, and tonight, man, I don't even know what got into these guys other than just Thunder Ring racing on a quarter mile at these SMI tracks like Atlanta, Charlotte, even Las Vegas has one, Kentucky has one, Texas, of course. It's just what you get sometimes, but a big change of things next week. I know we still have a whole week of racing at Atlanta to go, but these guys, they're headed to Hickory Motor Speedway next week, next Monday on January 2nd, then Oxford, Southern National, Las Vegas. We were talking a little bit about these tracks earlier. 40 lappers the next 2 weeks, Brandon. What do you think of those?
Honestly, it's going to be a nice change of pace. I think everybody's looking forward to going to a little bit bigger of a track at Hickory. I think drivers, they separate themselves a little different on those tracks versus these small boring tracks, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was even talking with you pre-race about, I've done one league race on a track like this in a legend car, and in that race even, we got to the whole lifting off the brake to roll into the guy in front of you, hit him, move him up the racetrack. We saw a little bit of that tonight, even for the race win. Parker Retzlaff said, nope, you're not blocking me down the racetrack, at least from his perspective, and sent Curtis Sutton. And we'll see how the Legends community reacts to that one. I'm sure... there's reason to celebrate. Certainly for Parker, he's still got the race win. He still had to endure that last race restart. So I'd put himself in that position, right, to take advantage of that kind of moment. But obviously, Curtis Sutton and anybody in that camp is not going to be happy with that.
Yeah, and one thing we failed to mention, Sutton was the number 14 car in that race. If he would have won that would have been something special.
Yeah, no, it really would have. So that's just unfortunate, but it's the way it goes sometimes. And a really, really big race is still really big for Parker Retzlaff, who's got the highest I rating, just like it's really big for Curtis Sutton. I don't know that you can really differentiate between that. So if Parker knew that going in, maybe there was that extra drive into turn 1, right? And that extra reason to make a little bit of contact. I don't know, but that's up to the drivers, and I'm sure they're going to figure that one out between themselves, and we'll have really interesting racing for sure at Hickory, if not the rest of the season. Brandon, 3 weeks in, is there... I guess any one driver that's shining to you?
Oh, there's just so many of them. I mean, of course, Parker, he's standing out. He's been driving really well. I know he's had some issues. Well, that's for sure. But other than that, I mean, he has been cruising. Kyle, of course, is still up there, and Daniel, of course. I mean, those guys are week in, week out, just lights out.
My eyes, I think, are still on the two out of the Virginias at the top of the order here after 2 weeks of racing. Kyle Meyer, Daniel Folds. I really think Kyle Meyer has a lot of potential that he doesn't realize he has yet. I think we'll see him get better as this season goes on. I think tonight is definitely one of those kind of moments where, he started out nearly perfect the first couple of weeks. One of those things where you get kicked before you have to get back up again, right? So I think Kyle Meyer is going to learn, maybe not even learn, but just grow from this a little bit and come back swinging even harder next week at Hickory. I think Daniel Folds, kind of in the same category, has been great the first couple of weeks and will be stronger for it. Might even see Blake Massengill improve. We'll have to see, but I think Retzlaff is going to take a big lead depending on how the rest of the week goes. And, we didn't see Putman in this race, and we didn't see Ashby, so we'll see if they're able to cope with lower strength of fields. I mean, there's one race these guys seem to want to run, and those guys not being in it, that might impact their weeks for sure. Let's talk about some upcoming broadcasts here at Pit Stop TV on the rest of the channel. Hickory Motor Speedway is the next one, actually, that we have set in stone for sure. It sounds like we might have a couple later this week. Just stay tuned for that. We do have more coming at Pit Stop TV for the month of, even December and into January to begin 2023. But otherwise, you see us next in action will be Hickory Motor Speedway on January 2nd. Then Thursday of next week, it'll be January 5th when we get back in action with the North American Racing League from Interlagos. And then, of course, we continue on to Oxford Plains with these Painbuilt Legends and the rest of the Advanced Legends Cup. A lot of places to watch as well. Just tune in for social media updates at Pit Stop TV, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitch. We broadcast to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch. We put social media updates on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Well, Brandon, 2 weeks of joining me in the booth now, going from the driver's seat to maybe the mic. Is that what's happening here?
I don't know. I need to get back into racing, or Tyler's going to fire me from the team. I mean, no, I'll be back in racing probably starting tomorrow here. No, I've really liked doing this. It's definitely cool to see a different side of things. Honestly, I think it's going to make me a better driver because I'm just seeing this from the outside looking in. It's pretty neat.
Well, there you go. Brandon Herzing using a couple of notes he sees from the commentary booth to use for his racing the rest of the week. And I think you can see actually a replay of that move into turn one from a few laps ago. That right there, that is a big time defining moment for this week of Advanced Legends Racing on the iRacing.com sim. That bump into turn one, sending Curtis Sutton around and Parker Retzlaff taking the race lead and eventually winning this race. That's going to be talked about, I think, in the Legends community, as you said there, Brandon. So that is important between those guys, and Parker Retzlaff walks away with the race win. But thank you, everybody, tuning in. It certainly has been a pleasure, as always. We will see you next week for Hickory Motor Speedway, but stay tuned, like I said, on the social media channels here at Pit Stop TV for more coming from us. There will likely be at least one more show this week, so just stay tuned and be ready for those updates when they come out. Otherwise, we will see you next Monday at 7 Eastern at Hickory, and just stay safe. Enjoy the holidays, especially with New Year's. Be responsible. I think that's all I really had to say. Just be responsible, be safe, be smart, and get home safely if you do go out. Make sure that you catch that broadcast on January 2nd on Monday evening. So otherwise, we'll see you there.